almost just played the intro before recording.
Unbelievable!
All right, now we're ready. Okay, here we go.
Nope, hang on. I have to lose the game first.
But you got.
Hello? You play to win the game.
You play to lose the game.
Straight cash, homie.
Oh god. You play to win the game.
You sure about that?
All right, it's football time. Here you go.
Football.
But you got a flag down.
Oofside.
Everyone but the center. Offense.
You're listening to Oofsides on Track and Turf Media.
Talk about playoffs?
But they are who we thought they were.
Who's gonna win it all?
Football.
And who is Dunyan Rings?
You play to win the game.
Live from the Dieter Brock studio.
Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug.
Here's the crew that's bringing it all to you.
Wow, can you believe it? Christmas, just a day away. It happened so fast. Christmas in a day. Woohoo! I am so happy about that. You know what else I'm happy about? Football. Welcome to Oofsides. How you
Can't
guys doing?
relate. Kill me.
It has
Yeah.
been a hot minute since I've been this happy after a loss.
It's been a hot minute since I've been this upset after a win.
Want to trade?
This sucks, man. Yeah, it's the holiday season. I'm excited. I got the next 5 days off work, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do nothing. Probably just play more Stellaris because I'm horribly addicted right now.
Hell yeah.
I don't really know where I'm going with this intro. Fuck it, let's just jump right into it. Because last week was a week that I don't really know how to call last week. Dewey and I were talking about that beforehand. That not a lot of crazy stuff happened. We did have some teams finally eliminated that should have been weeks ago that we all knew weren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we're starting to get into the useless football portion of the season.
We got a
just
few
a
of
little
those
bit.
this week. But this week started with a game that was very much not useless at SoFi Stadium. In the race to displace the Chiefs from the pinnacle of the AFC, two new contenders have emerged from their own division. The Chargers, currently sitting as the 7th seed, welcomed in the rival Broncos, sitting as the 6th seed. Denver had a clear agenda on Thursday: win and punch your ticket to the postseason. And after a back-breaking goal line interception thrown by Justin Herbert, it looked to be going that way as the Broncos held a 21-10 lead with just 41 seconds in the half. That wasn't until Dicker the Kicker made history, becoming the first player since 1976 to make a fair catch kick, drilling it from 57 yards. Fun fact, do you guys know the last kicker to do so?
No.
Jan
was
Sonnenrud.
It was Chargers kicker Ray Wersching from 45 yards. The Chargers have the last two of them in a row. After that, though, it was all Chargers in this game. They scored 21 points in the second half, held the Broncos to just 6, and now the Broncos are going to have to wait at least another week to punch their ticket to the postseason. I think me and a lot of other people went into this game looking at it yep, that's the Chargers for you. And I feel like they kind of changed the narrative a little bit in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. To start, it's always been Broncos over the Chargers, but I'm starting to see that Jim Harbaugh defense start to toughen up again.
Oh, yeah. Especially the way they came out of the second half and just completely shut down an offense that was rolling. I mean, Bo Nix threw two touchdowns, I think, in the first quarter. And they had no answers to the Broncos. And then that fair catch kick, which Harbaugh or the special teams coach was just all over immediately, kind of changed the momentum of this game. So
Yeah.
It really did. That cool plays like that also deserve to have their own multiplier on. Like that should have counted for 10 points.
Definitely, yeah.
Like
It's
that is one of the coolest things I've ever that reminded me so much of back in 2005 when Doug Flutie was retiring at the end of the season, and in the last week of the year, Bill Belichick let him drop kick an extra point after a touchdown as like a retirement gift.
Oh my
Like
gosh, yeah.
I wish more coaches would like read through the entire rule book and see what cool shit that nobody ever thinks of that they can do every week, because I love unique stuff like that and it arguably helps them win the game.
Well, Harbaugh said they've been looking for an excuse to do this for pretty much the whole season at this point. So
I was gonna say, he's got to be the only coach in the NFL that's like salivating at the idea of doing a fair catch kick, and then of course it happens to his team where he's just like, yes, yes, finally gets to do it. The best part too, or go ahead, sorry.
I mean, Pete Carroll cared about scoregami. It
That is
makes
true.
sense that we have sickos in the league. This was
Oh my
bound to
gosh.
happen.
I loved too that they interviewed Sean Payton after that, and he was like, "Yeah, we have a package in place for fair catch kicks," and it was like, "What? Stand there and watch your kicker blast it from 50 yards unguarded? What do you mean you have a package for that in play? There's no defense. What are you talking about?" But yeah,
Worth,
oh god,
I was gonna say worth noting as well. This is the first time that the Chargers have swept the season series against the Broncos since 2010, and it's only the third time they've done it or the fourth time since 1982.
those 2010 Chargers must have been pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah, they had a #1 offense and #1 defense.
What did they end up doing that year?
Something special.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't miss the playoffs or anything.
No,
Yeah,
that's
Um,
preposterous.
Yeah, the Chargers have the Broncos have historically had the Chargers number, so this could end up being like a monumental set of victories for how that rivalry goes over the next couple of seasons.
Oh yeah, and I mean, when you just look at the playoff picture right now, I believe next week the Chargers are winning in. I'll have to double check to be sure, maybe when we get to the news. But for the Broncos, it's not all smooth sailing for them at this point, because I mean, this was not an easy game at all. But they win this game, they're in. They have to win one of their final 3 games. They clinch their spot. And this was probably the easiest one because the next 2 that they play are the Bengals and the Chiefs. And the Bengals don't have a great defense, but they are torching people on offense right now. So good luck with that. And unless maybe the Chiefs are resting their starters, but I have a feeling that they're going to want to, if they have a shot to end the Broncos season, they're going to, they're not going to pull back the hounds.
Yeah. Plus, it's the Chiefs. Like, they're going to win.
Yeah, that too.
Unfortunately.
I'm locking them 2 weeks in advance.
Wait, what the fuck?
What?
Well, I'm looking up more about the fair catch kick to better understand how exactly it works and everything. The one that Cameron Dicker hit last week is the longest successful one ever as well.
Oh my gosh.
The previous record for a fair catch kick that was successful was 52 yards in 1964, and this one was from 57.
That is wild.
Huh.
The longest one that's ever been attempted, if you're curious, was 74 yards in 1979.
I was going to say, I know Phil Dawson tried a 70-yarder in 07.
Yeah, the 1979 one was attempted by Mark Mosley, who also happens to be the only kicker to ever win MVP.
See, what you're saying earlier about finding weird ways to score, this is basically like a football quick time event. And there's got to be one somewhere in the rules that says you win. No matter, you just win the game, right?
That would be cool.
Yeah, if you could drill an 80-yarder, don't even play the rest of the game. Just Brandon Aubrey going out there with one giant leg. But yeah, so I'm a little concerned because it's not the first time that we've seen the Broncos collapse down the final 3 games of the season. Looking at you, 08 Broncos, when they made a division champion out of the 4-8 Chargers. That's always a
See,
fun
also 2009 Broncos.
one. Yeah, they only started out 6-0. Or last year's Broncos, which were like 5-2, I think, at one point, and then just completely fell apart down the stretch.
I think the
So.
09 Broncos started 6-0.
Yeah.
Like,
So
they're good at that.
yeah. So fun times in Denver. But speaking of the Chiefs, let's go there because we had Saturday football that kicked off in Kansas City. The Houston Texans, the new power in the AFC. CJ Stroud, the next great quarterback on the gridiron. An ascending power hell-bent on delivering Southeast Texas its first NFL title. God doesn't care, though. The Chiefs are an omnipotent force hell-bent on football supremacy. The football world is merely a thin metal plate being bent and formed around the whim of football's unmovable anvil that is Patrick Mahomes. Gimpy ankle be damned, the Chiefs' offense will move through your defense like a modified tractor through a Granby, Colorado hardware store. The inevitable head death of the universe will wipe us all out one day, and Patrick Mahomes will still be scrambling, looking for the opening that will lead him to football nirvana. Chiefs 27, Texans 19, eat Arby's.
Sometimes reasonable quarterbacks must make unreasonable plays.
Well, now I have to take Eat Arby's out of one of my intros. So thank you for that.
No,
We'll
this is just an
we'll just have
extra
lunch
nihilistic
and dinner.
episode.
This has been Nietzsche sides.
Dude, there's just like especially bleak about watching the Chiefs play. It's a lot like the Patriots back in the day, where like it just seems like they have kind of like a debuff that just like hampers the other team just from being on the same field as them.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's like a
doesn't matter
passive
what you
trait.
do.
Yeah.
If I speak, I will get in trouble.
They're really good at doing just enough to beat you, and it's infuriating.
Quiet quitting football.
The more I think about that, the more it's true, because there was a stat from this game, which is the Chiefs have now won 14 games, all of which scoring 30 or fewer points. Do you want to know? That is the most since one other team in NFL history. Do you know what team that was?
The 1998 Vikings.
No, you're going to have to go way older than that. It's the 1925 Frankfurt Yellow Jackets.
But wait, was that the team that lost the NFL championship to the Cardinals because of that weird fuck shit that happened?
That was the Pottsville Maroons that you're thinking of.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's look this up. What did the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets do? They went 15-7. Why did they play 22 games? Hang on.
Wait, yeah, what the fuck?
Hang on. They went 13-7 in NFL games. They played 2 more, and you know where they finished in the NFL standings?
3rd.
6th.
What?
What the fuck? What was the fucking NFL at the time? Oh, you know what? That was the same year as the Pottsville Maroons thing.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh my god.
God, football is
So-
so dumb.
Just to look it up, I looked up Patrick Mahomes' passer ratings so far this season, and hang on, I gotta do some counting here. This is gonna be challenging.
It's some numbers.
Started 15 games this season. There's only been 3 where he's posted a QB rating above 100.
That's not
And
very
they're
good.
14-1.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the most recent one was against the Panthers.
And they almost lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that genuinely the only game they've played this year that wasn't one score was their loss to the Bills. This is just like the biggest anomaly of any football team I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Nothing about them makes sense.
This reminds me of the Eagles a few years ago. That's just a precarious house of cards.
Yeah.
As soon as they lose one time, it's all gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Well, they
It's
lost the
almost
one
like
time.
it's almost like they planned for that Bills loss. Once they actually lose a game, they might collapse.
It'd be
And I
nice if
pray
it
that
happened
it happens
tomorrow.
soon.
Yeah. I mean,
I wouldn't be
it's-
sure about that.
I mean, it's not to say that like they haven't played any good teams. You know, they played the Ravens week 1. They just played the Texans, who are a good but not great team.
Beat the Chargers twice.
Yeah, they beat
Beat the
obviously
Bucs.
that.
Denver.
It's just I wonder what's gonna. I mean, they play the Steelers this week, and they still have.
And Denver
I think
in the last
Did they
week.
play the Raiders last week, or is it the? Oh no, it is the Broncos too. So like it's not a super easy schedule, but at the same time, like I want to believe that they get into the tournament and then a team like Buffalo or God forbid Cincinnati get into the tournament, and just punch them in the mouth. But it's like at some point I just gotta I need to stop being in denial, and just be like, yeah, they're just that good. So I don't know. I think if they face Buffalo again, I think the Bills will knock them out. But at this point, I don't know what team is going to do that. So outside of them,
It might take till the Super Bowl, quite frankly.
It very well could.
honestly, it genuinely feels like it's going to take a great offense to really knock them out. And when I think of great offenses in the AFC, like aforementioned
Buffalo.
Bills and Bengals, and then when I think of other great ones, it's the Lions, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Bucs, all these NFC teams that they don't have to face very often.
Right.
Sam Darnold beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl would feed like 25 generations.
I'm bricked up.
Yeah, we need that to happen.
Mhm.
On the Texans side, this was a winnable game.
For sure.
But it really felt like the energy got sucked out of this team when Tank Dell scores the touchdown to get them to 17-16, and then in the process of that has a terrible knee injury, which is going to be season-ending, and we don't know when he's going to be back. And then they missed the extra point, and that just kind of sucks all the momentum out, and that was, they never get any closer than that.
Yeah.
That was such a gorgeous play, too, from start
Yeah.
to finish. And for it to end like that is just extremely unfortunate in every way
for
possible.
his leg to go that way and for him to still hold on to the ball is commendable.
I still haven't seen it, and I don't know if I want
Don't
to.
don't.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It is very bad.
Yeah. So, best thoughts, and obviously wishing for a speedy recovery to Tank Dell. But yeah, I mean, that is the Texans season in a nutshell, where they just seemingly cannot catch a break when it comes to injuries.
Well, this time they did.
God damn. Well, actually, no, technically you're wrong, because it was just a dislocated kneecap. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm flipping you off right now.
Oh, man. Darn.
Idiot.
Any other thoughts, though?
Can the Chiefs like stop already?
Yeah, I'm kind of over this.
Yeah. I've had enough.
Yeah. Well, there's one team that is giving me some hope if they face them in January, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. So let's go there.
Ravens 34, Steelers 17. I don't care anymore, man. I don't care anymore, man.
Oh man. Yeah.
For a second, I thought you just weren't going to say anything at all.
I was thinking about it. I had on my show thing here just and I was thinking about screaming the entire time, but I don't think that would be good for my lungular devices.
Lungular device.
Yeah, this was an ugly game,
Yeah.
and I'm not surprised, but I am disappointed.
It got out of hand. In the fourth quarter, it got out of hand. But there's two moments that really define this game, and it's the Russell Wilson scramble at the goal line and then fumbling it at the 5-yard line, which took between 3 and 7 points off the board. And then you have in the fourth
Pick
quarter,
6, man.
yeah. Well,
Ugh.
I mean, before that's even funnier, right? Because you have this huge Derrick Henry run, and it's like, all right, the Ravens have got some momentum. Here they come, and then Bateman just like gives up halfway through his route, and Lamar throws an interception that should have been backbreaking. And then the very next play is Marlon Humphrey picks off Russell Wilson and takes it all the way back. And it was just like, oh, and it's over. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the Steelers without George Pickens, because this team becomes extremely one-dimensional without him, and
Yeah.
Russell Wilson does not look like the same guy without his favorite target, which is a little concerning. But he'll be back for this week, so fingers crossed. But
A lot of guys were hurt past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Missing Deshaun Elliott, missing what the fuck's his Dante Jackson as well. I mean, based on the way the injuries stacked up, it wasn't really surprising to lose this game. And with Pickens back, it should make things better, but this was ugly.
I think
And
the more surprising part to me is the fact that there was a Steelers-Ravens game where somebody scored more than 30 points.
Yeah,
I feel like there's not a lot of those.
No.
not usually.
Yeah, and there was this slide 2 has been difficult for the Steelers because 2 weeks ago they were the number 2 seed and knocking on the door of the Chiefs, and you look at this week 17 matchup that's coming up and you're like, that could be for the number 1 overall seed. And now they're in danger of not only they've completely lost touch with the first round bye, they might have to go on the road because they've let the Ravens back into it. I'm not entirely out on the Steelers. I think they have a lot of stuff that is going to do them well in January. Their tickets obviously are already punched. TJ Watt is almost unaccountable for on the field. Like, you always have to watch out for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilson, despite their recent struggles, has been a boon for this team. I just it's kind of concerning to see the ceiling that their offense has on it when George Pickens isn't out there.
Yeah. And to be fair, most other teams are like that too, taking away their top target. It's just, instead of having a clear number 2 like they were supposed to with Deontay Johnson, he forced his way off his team for better pasture, and they didn't really replace him with. So number 2 just ends up being this committee of whoever's open, instead of developing that actual connection with an actual receiver. So it might be different a year from now, next time around, but it might not. It depends on what they're going to end up doing, no matter what happens at the end of the season.
Well, I think a thing that definitely helps too is they're not going to be, at this rate, not going into next year with a question mark about the quarterback position.
Right.
So that's definitely going to help with the evaluation of receivers and building out this core. On the Ravens side, this is exactly what I think everybody wanted to see from them, because I mentioned it last week where there was, going into the Giants game, there's kind of the narrative of like, just, show that you're good at the end of the year, right? Because the Ravens always come out of the gates hot. And, a couple times it's been because of injuries. Last year they got all the way to the AFC title game and then fell flat. And so the last 2 games have basically been just like, go take care of business against the Giants, slay the dragon that is the Steelers, and, take the division and show that you're for real this time. Because if this season ends with the Ravens not going to the Super Bowl, it's a massive failure.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have everything going for them. It's just whether they can shake off their slow start or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I did look it up. The last time a team in this rivalry put up 30 in a game was when the Steelers won 39-38 in 2017.
That was a good game.
They went
think.
7 years without scoring 30 on each other.
Was that the one that Antonio Brown like reached across the goal line to win?
That was 2016
Oh, okay.
on Christmas.
Yeah, that game was nuts too. Anyway, speaking of the Giants, same old, it seems like, down in ATL.
Sunday was the first start for one Michael Penix, going up against Giants players that could use Nugenics. The G-men from New York never stood a chance. They should wave the white flag and channel their inner France. If there's any silver lining to their fans being sick, they are that much closer to the number one pick, as the Falcons beat the shit out of the Giants 34-7 in a game that was never close at any point, and Michael Penix really didn't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a good thing that he didn't, because his team tried to make his life hell. 5 of his first 9 pass attempts were all drops. Like, they were all catchable balls that were dropped, including the first time he targeted Kyle Pitts, who
Oh
just
my
kind
God.
of bobbled it and then like volleyball set it to the defender for an interception.
That was awful.
So you take that off of his record, because that was not his fault, and pretty good first game.
Yeah. I mean, and with the misstep by the Bucs this weekend, all of a sudden Michael Penix has a very good chance at starting a home playoff game in a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh!
Imagine saying that a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So they. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you take that interception off his record. Pretty good game. Got a lot of help from Bijan on the ground as well. And the other thing that really helped him, and this is why it was a good reason to make the quarterback switch now, was he's playing the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Because
Good
technically,
confidence booster for your first game.
if he kneeled every play on offense, they still would have won. Because
Yeah, Drew Lock spotting the Falcons 2 pick sixes definitely helped.
yeah.
And I think they
Oh,
sacked him 3 times too, and there was a fumble somewhere, and it was bad.
You want to talk about a team quiet quitting? This is your number one candidate.
That's just
right here.
quitting.
Yeah, this is your coworker who's just fully over it, and they still have to pay rent, but they want an excuse to not work there anymore, so they're just giving fuck all effort.
And yeah, there's like 6 teams now that are all 3-12, and the Giants leapfrogged all of them because they are now 2-13.
The race to the top.
They have
and-
this was their 10th loss in a row, which is also a franchise record.
Oh my
It's
god.
even funnier because I don't even expect them to make the right decision in this offseason. It's just going to get worse.
It might.
It is. It's so crazy to look, because I didn't realize their losing streak was that long. Going into this week, you had the Bears on 8 straight losses, the Giants on 9, and the Raiders on 10. That is ridiculous.
For what it's worth, also the Mets have still won more recently than the Giants. The Mets were eliminated from the MLB postseason over 2 months ago.
Oh my god.
The Rangers have still won more recently in MetLife than the Giants.
Yeah, they have one more home game this year, and it's the Colts this weekend to try and break that streak. I'm not confident in them doing it whatsoever.
Good god.
But the good news for them too is if they lose either of these last 2 games, they only have to lose one of them, and they clinch the number 1 pick. So it's almost over, at least for this year.
Watch
we
them
think-
beat the Eagles.
That would be fucking hilarious. Oh my god. No, if they beat the Colts, and like imagine like they win this week, but then they beat the Eagles in week 18, and it fucks the Eagles out of the division, and it fucks them out of the number 1 pick at the same time.
God.
Oh man.
I need
That's
that to
wonderful.
happen. Do we think Dable's coming back?
He better not.
Truthfully,
If they're
I think-
smart, their last game after Philly, they're going to leave him on the tarmac. But I don't trust them to make that decision, and I think they could go into another year with him.
Yeah, I think what they should do is to do what USC did to Lane Kiffin and just take him into a fucking conference room at the airport, can him, and make him find his own way home. But I think they're gonna give him another year with the idea that they're gonna let him handpick the quarterback he thinks will best fit his offense and try to build it up for a year. And if it doesn't work, then you fire him and you find somebody else that can work with the quarterback.
'Cause-
But the risk you run with that is becoming the Bears.
If you're being real, he made the playoffs in his first season. If he gets the guy he wants, it could work. I just organizationally, I don't think the Giants are competent enough to make that happen.
Yet I think again, Dayball has done enough in his previous stints in the NFL and in college where I think you can trust him to make the right organizational decision to build an offense around. But it's also just bad optics to bring a guy back after going 2-15, 2 years removed from a playoff win. So I get it if they do, I get it if they don't.
Yeah, I think it's a bad look too, the fact that he was brought in basically as the guy who was like, hey, you turned Josh Allen into the fucking weapon that he is, and Daniel Jones got worse under him. I think that is a big part of it, thing that makes it kind of tough. I don't know, because I've heard a lot of people doing the PR spin of like, oh yeah, like it's the Giants. They're just basically punting on the season, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, like Dable was pissed during this game. I don't think he wants to keep losing like this.
I mean, who does?
So that's one of the big mysteries. Like, there's a couple coaches who we all know are probably getting fired, who might have played each other this week. More on that later. This is for me the biggest like mystery in the league of like, who are they going to be coming back or not? So
Yeah.
yeah, like you mentioned, because of what happened on Sunday night, the Falcons are now fully in control of their own destiny to make the playoffs. So all they have to do is just match the Bucs from here on out, and they're in. So yeah. On to Carolina. The first matchup between 5'10" quarterbacks since 1956. It was all offense in Carolina. While the diminutive signal callers both played well, it was the ground attacks that stole the show. Down 21-3 early, James Conner punched his way into the end zone for the Cardinals' first touchdown, but it was Chuba Hubbard adding 96 and a score of his own. Chad Ryland drilled a 58-yarder to force overtime, but the Cardinals' offense stalled out. 2 plays and 49 more yards later, Chuba Hubbard trotted into the end zone untouched, and the Panthers ended their 4-game losing streak. The Cardinals were left licking their wounds, however, as they entered their bye having built a 6-4 cliff atop the NFC West. Now they've lost 4 of their last 5 and have been eliminated from the playoffs, leaving some serious doubts around Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon.
These two teams combined for 449 rushing yards.
Yeah, fuck throwing the ball. We're running. Yeah, this game was funny because of all the rushing yards, like it was over so fast.
Yeah, shout out Chuba Hubbard, man. Like he's had a rough go of it recently. Like he had that overtime fumble, and you could tell it like really took a toll on him and everything. But like to come out and have a performance like this and to earn NFC Offensive Player of the Week is a really good story, and I feel great for him. Like I think this is a great boost for him for the future of his career and for the future of this team. Like I think they like, even though the McCaffrey trade, feel how you will about that, I think they have a franchise running back again.
Yeah, that was the loudest I've seen that stadium in years when he was scoring in overtime.
And it's funny too because this is a 4-11 team now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's hope. Like same thing we've been talking about every week. Like Bryce Young is just getting maybe
played a
not
little better
this week,
Yeah.
but good game. Looks like he's made genuine improvements. Like there's a lot of optimism around Dave Canales as their head coach.
It's the best spot you want to be in because tickets are cheap because you suck, but the vibes are still good.
Yeah. It's the ultimate vibes team in the NFL. Gotta also give a big shout out though, Chad Ryland, the 58-yarder. I'm pretty sure all three of his kicks were from 50+ yards, if I
He
recall
let his
correctly.
nuts hang on that one.
Yeah. But not a shout out to just the Cardinals offense as a whole in overtime, carrying all that momentum and ran let me find it here. I've got it written down. 7 plays in overtime and had a total of -6 yards.
Beautiful.
I mean, they forced a punt from the Panthers. All they had to do was get in field goal range. Couldn't even move forward, and then it literally took 2 plays for Chuba Hubbard to end the game from midfield. So not a great look for a team that definitely faltered down the stretch. And also, it's time for the Greg Dortch update.
'Cause he is Greg Dortch, short king, proud of Glendale's football team, scoring all the touchdowns for you, punt return man, kickoffs too, he's Greg Dortch.
Our man did a little bit of everything on Sunday. 1 carry for 8 yards, 1 reception for 19 yards, 1 kick return for 26 yards, 1 punt return for 13 yards.
Hell
yeah.
He's fucking all over the field. He's doing it all. There's a Swiss Army knife there.
Speaking of the song too, we need like a group of carolers, but instead of singing Christmas songs, they sing Creed songs. I want a group of like 10 guys to show up at my front door at like 2 in the morning, and when I open it, they're just singing with arms wide open. I think I'd cry.
I'm surprised Creed has never done like a Christmas album with how
Right?
like Christian they are. What are we doing? We got to get together.
Oh, Christmas tree!
Oh, Christmas tree! Oh, Christmas!
Does he have like the wings during that one halftime show and he flutters all the way up to the top of the tree? He's the star.
When Santa's coming!
Santa baby!
Yeah, so this is I mean, every year you get like the collapse, and 6-4 isn't the biggest like collapse we've ever seen, but
It's sure disappointing though.
like they were leading the division, and
now they're out of it.
yeah, completely out of it with 2 weeks to go. So it's pretty wild.
Funny how that shit works.
Which it's funny too because like they're 7-8, which if they were in the AFC they would still be in wild card contention. Because there's basically every team that has more than 4 wins is still alive. So big, yeah, obviously like resident Cardinals fan that we know, and a lot of other people are like, "Is Kyler the guy?" It's not the first time this has happened. So
Yeah.
Don't ask him.
Starting to go the other way for me.
Yeah, I have my concerns for sure. So
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah, any other thoughts though?
Cool Panthers, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A team that's not doing cool stuff. That's Chicago Bears. So let's go there.
The Lions came to Chi-Town with a sweep on their minds against a hapless group of Bears where wins are hard to find. It was an easy day at the office for Goff and the crew, to the point where they stumbled, and it's what they meant to do. They set a new club record for wins in a year, while the Bears turned to the Cubs and came on the field in fear, as the Lions beat the Bears 34-17 to send them to their 9th loss in a row.
They were 4-2 at the bye, man.
We got before we get into that, we gotta talk about the fake trip touchdown.
That was
Like-
absurd.
Just disrespect.
Not nice.
So Connor Orr did like a deep dive on this play, and he was talking about it this week, and mentioned that oh god, I don't remember who it was who ran this play. It might have been a college team that ran is basically like a fake fumble or something, or no, it was a play I think against the Bears where the ball got fumbled and then like just sat untouched for like 10 seconds until somebody noticed it. And so they realized that they're like, there might be a play here. Hang on. And their offensive coordinator, or not offensive coordinator, or no, it was Ben Johnson, originally wanted Goff to fake fumble it. And Goff was like, there's no way I'm doing that. He's like, I'm not going to fake fumble. Like, I'm not even going to risk it. So they changed it into the fake trip and ended up running it for a touchdown. Like,
I think it was the Packers earlier this year when they were playing the Bears, where I think Jordan Love actually did stumble by accident, but it disrupted like the entire play to the point where their receiver was wide open and they gained like 30 or 35 yards on it. I think that was the one that they were referencing. But just the fact that you're so good on offense that you can look like you fuck up on purpose, it's just, man.
The choreography it requires to come up with something like that is just absurd. For a team that's, what are they now? 13-2.
13-2. The first time
doing
they've
this
ever
shit
won 13 games in a season.
just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you go back and watch this play, you can see the safety that is like hovering right around the line of scrimmage, like basically freezes in place. Like, what the fuck is going on over there? Because apparently the other aspect that they were taking advantage of is that the Bears safeties play run defense really well, and they're really aggressive, and they can attack the tackle box really well. And so they literally use that to their advantage by tricking them by like pretending to fall over. Like we're not too far removed from like Dan Campbell throwing a banana peel on the field to like create a distraction.
It wouldn't even surprise me at this point.
Oh my god.
He's just gonna try and trip somebody on a kickoff return like Mike Tomlin did that one time.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier with quick time events. If the head coach tackles the ball carrier, that you just win. So it's a strategic advantage to have a giant head coach.
The coin toss in overtime should just be the head coaches fighting each other, and whoever wins gets the ball.
Yeah, they don't tell you. You can just steal the coin. You just take it. They can't stop you. Yeah, the Bears though.
My god.
They scored a touchdown finally. Give them that. As the first under interim head coach, name currently escapes me, that they've scored a touchdown.
Brown, I think?
Yes, that's who it is.
Yeah, Keenan Allen at 100, that's the thing about this game. Keenan Allen at 141 yards, and Caleb Williams threw for 334 and added 2 touchdowns. He did not play bad at all, and they had almost 400 yards of offense. The problem is that they gave up 475 total yards on defense.
Yeah, so this is a funny stat. Are you ready? Despite all of the misery and how everybody's been like, you're ruining Caleb Williams and everything, Caleb Williams currently has the 6th best QB season in Bears history. Like, he's genuinely having one of the best quarterback seasons in the 100 years of this franchise. And this is what it's like.
If he throws for 400 yards in their last 2 games, he'll have the first 4,000 yard season by a Bear ever.
That's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean, who are they playing the next 2 weeks? Let's see.
They have the Seahawks and the Packers left.
Seahawks, I think he could rack up some numbers against. Packers, though, he might die.
Well, the Packers, for all we know, could be resting starters that week.
Oh, true.
It's possible. If they
nobody
lose to
knows
Minnesota, they
what
could be resting. we'll see.
Yeah, nobody knows what the North is going to be in a fix. So that game could go either way.
Yeah. God, he's gonna get to like 3,800, and it's gonna be infuriating.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean, much like what we were talking about with the Lions, is just next man up. So they shifted kind of back into their defensive scheme from last year, which is bend, don't break. Who cares about yards if you're not giving up points? So, and that worked. So, Lions just keep rolling. And yeah, I don't know if we have anything else to say about that.
Not really. Bears suck.
Yeah.
Actually, I do. That's actually one quick thing. I find it really funny that through 15 games this year, and with all the shit that was talked about the trade between the Bears and the Panthers surrounding Bryce Young and DJ Moore and yada yada yada, through 15 games, the Bears and Panthers have identical records.
Oh man, way to go, Bears!
No Bears.
I don't really have a transition for this, other than time to go to the shootout that nobody saw coming in Indianapolis.
The Indianapolis Colts allegedly defeated the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, with the score reportedly being 38-30. Jonathan Taylor supposedly ran in for 3 touchdowns, 2 of which were said to have come on 60-plus yard runs. In addition, according to eyewitness reports, Anthony Richardson had been seen running into the end zone at one point for another 7 points. For Tennessee, the presumed starter Mason Rudolph threw 3 picks, while Tyjae Spears purportedly rushed for 2 more touchdowns. It's all hypothetical in the South, baby.
That reminds me of the one screenshot of the person that edited Ray Romano's Wikipedia article to be all hypothetical. The Indianapolis Colts could be a football team in the NFL.
I like this idea of the Skeptics Football Podcast.
That's what I'm saying, is
This may or may not be Oofsides.
for the coverage maps, almost the entire U.S. got Rams Jets. Most of PA and Ohio got Browns and Bengals. And there was just this little tiny pocket in Indy and this little tiny pocket in Nashville that got this game. Who gives a shit? Why are we televising these games?
Yeah.
They don't mean
Colts-
anything.
Well, the Colts tried really hard to blow this thing, and they're also still in playoff contention because they didn't. Like, it matters. This one mattered a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a skeptic about it. I don't necessarily believe that they can make the playoffs. Like,
I'm like agnostic
may-
about the AFC South. I don't
The
think
NFL
they exist.
the NFL might have numbers, but they don't know the vibes. So, but yeah, this was like this is basically the like Anthony, please don't throw the football game, because like you mentioned, Jonathan Taylor ran it 29 times for 218 yards. Richardson ran it 9 times himself. They had 8 big carries by Trey Sermon, 4 by Tyler Goodson. This was very much just like, just hand the ball off and let's get the fuck out of here.
This was only his second career 200-yard game, and it was the first since Week 17 in 2020, which is his rookie year.
Oh, he
Like, genuinely a career game for him.
cut it close to 201 yards. Yeah, the score is a little misleading because Tennessee jumped out to a 7-0 lead and then gave up 24 in the second quarter. And it wasn't until like garbage time that they made it close. And like you mentioned, Indy did try giving it away, but Mason Rudolph on the last play was like, "Here, you take it instead."
That was an awful pick. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that.
He'll do that sometimes. Actually, here I have a soundbite from this was Shane Steichen when they were scheming up this week's fuck, I don't know words.
Run the ball!
Yeah. Because that's all they did. So
All they needed to
Pounds
do.
the fucking rock.
yeah. Once again, asking the question: what is the point of the Tennessee Titans? So
They have no aura at all.
Just fold him, man. Let
Oh.
Houston be the Oilers again, and then put this supposed team somewhere else.
Move them to fucking
Like-
Put him in
Oh,
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis. I was gonna say
Oh.
Salt Lake City.
I was gonna be selfish and say Sacramento, but yeah, that makes more sense.
Let's see how your baseball team does first.
Or actually, how about Oakland?
Yeah, they have a stadium there,
Yeah,
or even San Diego.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I've been to the Oakland Coliseum. It's not great.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
still
real
a stadium.
football.
It would be
That-
really funny though if the Titans were like, "Hey, city of Nashville, I know you just started building as a new stadium, but we're actually gonna go to Oakland and play." You guys cool with that? All right.
Well, see,
So.
if you bring him back to if you put him in St. Louis, then you can bring back Jeff Fisher because that was his other coaching job after he left the Titans.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
So
It's
it'll be
always
full
Jeff
circle.
Fisher.
Just some consolidation. Yeah.
Plus, they'll finally improve from 3-12 back to 8-9 because that is the Jeff Fisher signature special. You're guaranteed to improve year one.
Yeah. You know what? That is
Mhm.
that is a good point. Did you guys see the Brian Callahan press conference emotional moment when somebody asked him about his team being soft?
I
did
heard
not
about
see
it. I
this.
didn't hear it.
Dude, it's weird. Like I don't remember what the reporter asked him, but it's basically like somebody in the media said that they were a soft team, and he rants for like 2 minutes, like getting more and more mad, and basically telling this reporter like how stupid of a question it is. So much so that he like actually starts to get emotional about it, and like looks like he's about to cry. Um, and then they played this whole clip on Heed the Call, and their producer is a Titans fan, and he was like, "Well, Brian, your team is soft because after they won earlier in the season to get to 3-8, and then got their asses whooped the next week, and a bunch of players said that they were like hungover from winning or hungover from success." And he was like, "You're 3-8. What do you mean you're hungover from success?"
Yeah,
Ugh.
what success do you have?
Yeah. So I am not entirely sold on Brian Callahan.
No.
So
Not
might
really.
be- I'm not hearing a ton of buzz, but I would not be surprised if he gets one and done. So
Bill
'cause-
shouldn't have fired Mike Vrabel.
Nope.
So yeah. Anyway, on to New Jersey.
The Rams came to MetLife to face a group of subpar ballers and reignite an old division rivalry between Hall of Fame signal callers. Stafford outdueled Rodgers in a low-scoring affair, and the Jets winning 2 in a row, they wouldn't dare. Gangrene once again needs to be rebuilt, while the Rams inch closer to a home playoff tilt, as the Rams beat the Jets 19-9. Ugh.
Fun fact, and this is about the 8th time there's been a stat like this about the Jets this year. The Jets are the first team in 25 years to not punt and score fewer than 10 points.
I was gonna read that off, but I'm glad you did.
I'm desperate to know what the last one is, because it's probably also the Jets.
That would be incredible if it was.
Yeah, this was speaking of quiet quitting, this was a game where Aaron Rodgers did that because he kind of got rolled up earlier in the game, and then he just started doing the like pass it immediately because he doesn't want to get hit. And they did fuck all in this game. I'm gonna read their drive summary real quick. Touchdown on the opening drive, and I believe they missed the extra point. Yep.
Yes, they did.
Turnover on downs at their own 33. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a bold decision.
So, because the Pats had the 425 slot, I had the misfortune of having this game on my TV. And, like, when they went for that, I had my hands on my head because I couldn't believe they did. I could not believe it.
I voluntarily watched this game because I have a weird obsession with the Jets this year. Yeah, so there was that, and then they kicked a field goal before half, and then they turned it over on downs after I believe a 9-minute, 45-second drive on the Rams 13. And then on their next drive, they fumbled it on their own 31. And then on the next drive, they turned it over on downs at their own 47. And on their next drive, Anders Carlson missed a 49-yard field goal. And then they muffed a punt and gave the ball back to the Rams with a minute and a half left.
It should be noted that the Jets, despite all of that, were winning 9-6 entering the fourth quarter. Like, this was a very winnable game, on top of the fact that when the Rams scored their first touchdown, they also missed their extra point.
Oh my god.
This game was just ugly. But it was winnable, and they found another way to not win it.
It was very, very cold. And like the Rams were definitely shook by it, but like it was surprising just how shook the Jets seemed to be by it too. Yeah, this was not good.
No, but it's funny.
It is.
And that's
very
what matters.
Funny.
They're still only a game better than the Patriots through week 16. Still.
They are currently the best team eliminated from playoff contention, so they've got that going for them, I guess.
At 4-11.
Yep. Exactly what they signed up for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's great too because last year they went 7-10. They have now lost more games with Aaron Rodgers this year than they did with Zach Wilson last year. And one of their wins last year was also with Aaron Rodgers because he technically started the first game and won.
What a failure. Oh my god.
It gets funnier every goddamn week.
I feel like I've said the same thing about 2 months straight, but just like I cannot wait for the off season. Because I want to see the drama of this unfold. Because like previously when I've hated Aaron Rodgers, it's because I think he's a massive douche canoe. And now it's just funny because he's failing. And I just can't wait. I wonder if he hits the free agent market, if anybody's gonna pay him top dollar. I really wonder.
So he goes on the Pat McAfee show like at least a couple times a week, and he did so today. And he was asked if he thought he was going to be released in the offseason or not, and he responded with "Ask Woody."
Well, yeah, he also had his quote though, where he was talking about getting released, and he was like, because Brick Johnson, Woody's like 17-year-old son, is apparently running shit, and it's like the ultimate cope answer of he's like, yeah, I've never been released before, and I've definitely never been released by a teenager, so it'll be a new experience. And it's like, bro is seething, but just won't admit it. Yeah, it does get funnier, it seems, every week.
The more that unfolds, the more I actually believe Joe Douglas when he said he answers to a teenager. Like, I actually believe it now.
Yeah.
That, like, Joe Douglas, who has been in the NFL circle for probably, like, 20 some odd years now, whatever, longer than Brick Johnson's been alive, if we're being totally honest. And I just imagine him having to sit in a conference room with just Brick Johnson and nobody else, and having to try to justify all of his decisions with personnel and everything to a fucking kid that doesn't know his fucking head from his fucking ass half the time, probably. I just... Like, the clip of the Giants GM from Hard Knocks with his kids trying to tell him who to draft and everything, I need a clip of that, but it's just Joe Douglas and Brick Johnson.
Oh yeah, to add insult to injury, on Jeopardy this week, there was one of the questions was like, this team is the only team to win the Super Bowl before the moon landing and hasn't returned since. So just rubbing it in. So it is really funny to think that a human has stepped on the moon more recently than the Jets have stepped on the field for the Super Bowl. It is statistically easier to leave Earth's orbit. Gravity itself is a
That's why they started the Apollo program, is to get at least some people away from the New York Jets.
Buzz Aldrin was like, "You guys got to get me out of here, man. This shit sucks."
Okay. There have been 14 Apollo missions. The Jets have made 14 playoff appearances.
Oh, it's coming down to the wire.
It quite literally is just as likely for there to be another Apollo mission, even though the last one was 50 years ago, as there is for the Jets to walk on the field for a playoff game.
Oh, God. That's, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to top that. Yeah,
Oh.
so, way to go. Also should mention the Rams are pretty firmly in the NFC North or NFC West lead.
Yeah, they win, they got it.
They
Yep.
got it.
So, yeah. On to Washington.
JETS, just extend their suffering.
A marquee matchup for the NFC East gets flipped on its head just a few minutes in. Jalen Hurts leaves the game with a concussion, and in comes Kenny fucking Pickett. Nonetheless, they have Saquon Barkley, and he pounds in 2 touchdowns to make it 21-7 Philly after 1. After that, our team sees through the Pickler's lies, stuffing his ground game and forcing him to throw from his emasculated gloved hands. In the fourth quarter, Jaden Daniels puts the team on his back by scoring 22 points, culminating in a 2-minute game-winning drive sealed with a touchdown pass to Jamison Crowder. We know who runs the East, and it's not the fucking Birds. Commies 36, Eagles 33.
Congrats, comrades.
Before we go any
5
further,
touchdown passes by a rookie.
Saquon rushed in for a touchdown, and Kenny Pickett threw a short pass to A.J. Brown. Saquon ripped off for a touchdown, and that was all in the first quarter. And beyond that, the only Eagles offense came from Jake Elliott.
Oh my gosh.
Just think about that.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett reverted to who he was last year.
Who he's always been.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, that's bad.
It was so cathartic being able to watch this game and just laugh at how bad he was.
He also
That
got
team
hurt in
was-
this game too.
Yeah, that team is rudderless without Jalen Hurts. If they have to bring this guy back in, they're fucked.
Which is crazy because Saquon has been better statistically than Jalen Hurts has compared to the amount that they've both produced, but yet they seem worse off without Hurts than they do with Barkley.
Well, yeah, because then they realize they can just stack the box and put everybody on Barkley and force him to throw. This was ugly. And Jaden Daniels just drove down the field and made the Eagles his bitch.
Dude, that juke he made with about a minute left to get the first down was I got up out of my seat and was like, what the fuck when he did that? It was ridiculous.
I was gonna say, yeah, that last drive was just money.
It felt like watching Brady. It really did.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful.
Especially because his drive before that, he was picked off.
Yeah.
You know,
I
he
thought
wasn't
that was
supposed to
game.
get another shot at it.
Yeah, okay, so we got to talk about that too. So he throws that interception that should end the game. The Eagles set up and Kenny Pickett hits Devonta Smith on the hands.
Oh my god.
And Devonta drops it. And that is, again, not the first time somebody has dropped a makeable pass that immediately led to a game-winning touchdown drive by the other team.
That was going to be a touchdown for the Eagles too if he caught it.
Oh yeah, he was gonna.
He was going to run untouched into the end zone, and instead, and the 2 plays before that were really good defensive stops. So that alone right there was that would have been game. But he got a second chance and made the most of it.
Yep. And now all of a sudden, because I don't have the Eagles and Lions played this year. I don't think they have.
No, they have not.
So I don't know what the tiebreaker situation is, but they're no longer even with the Lions. So they have a chance. You know, if the Vikings beat the Lions in a couple of weeks, they'll get leapfrogged for the number 1 seed as well. And the Commies still have, they need a break. They need the Eagles to lose out. But still got a shot at the division. So
Yep.
It
Not
would have
over.
clinched it for him. So, yeah. So if, like you said, I mean, the Eagles without Jalen Hurts are a shell of themselves. Even if he's not throwing for great numbers, just the threat of having him back there and his ability to manage the game makes such a difference. Because Kenny Pickett looked lost at times.
Mm-hmm.
It was not good. Any other thoughts? I feel like we don't have a lot to say, even though it was a great game.
Luke McCaffrey is a hell of a running back already, or wide receiver, whatever he is. It felt like every kick. Yeah, he's Christian McCaffrey's brother.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver.
Yep.
It felt like every time he fielded a kick, there was a chance for it to get past midfield.
I'm looking at his numbers. Yeah, I mean, he's averaging, I believe, 30 yards per punt return. So,
Yeah.
Damn.
bro was flying. So, yeah. So things in the NFC East getting interesting. Where it's not getting interesting, well, in some parts of the AFC North, it's getting interesting, but in Ohio, not very much.
Ew.
Cleveland's football team browned themselves on Sunday as they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals 24-6. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is left running for his life, getting picked off twice and sacked 5 more times, with their lone touchdown coming from a Jerome Ford rush. On the other side of the ball, Cincinnati finally delivers a convincing win, with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Andre Yoshivash all bringing in the ball for 7. Imagine if Joe Burrow was on a team worth of shit.
Did you guys see Joe Burrow bought all of his O-linemen samurai swords this week?
Yes, so
I
they
did.
could fall on him with honor after letting him down all season.
One of the reporters asked Joe about it, and they're like, "What? Why samurai swords?" And he was like, "Well, they wanted guns." And I was like, "Come on, guys, I can't do that."
One of those 5 sacks was also Trey Hendrickson, which leaves him with 13.5 on the season now.
Is he still leading
Still
the
tops
league?
in the league.
Yeah. A guy who's not topping the league, like you mentioned, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, had a whopping 15 yards at the half.
Yeah, no, this was bad.
It was very bad. Yeah, and there's it was a couple weeks ago or maybe it's last week when I mentioned the Kevin Stefanski, or not Kevin Stefanski, the Kyle Shanahan to Cleveland rumor. There's also a Kyle Shanahan trade rumor to Chicago, but
What?
yeah, that's a thing that like the Bears might make a swing to try to get Shanahan from San Francisco. But I did mention I thought I heard something about like maybe the Browns would try something like that, and if they were going to try to move on from Stefanski, I don't think they should. This would be a game that you could use to justify that because like DTR looked better than this last year. I don't think he looked good. But this was terrible. This was just bad.
Yeah. Worth noting as well in this game, Joe Burrow eclipsed 4,000 yards on the season in this game, and he threw for at least 3 touchdowns for the 7th straight game.
Jesus Christ.
And he now has 39 on the season.
The Bengals are 7-8.
I genuinely think he
of
should
those
be
7
MVP
straight
at this
games, they've lost 3 of them.
What the fuck? Like,
That poor guy,
seriously.
man.
And it's also his 9th game throwing 3 touchdowns on at least 3 on the year, and those other 2 they also lost.
He hasn't thrown for fewer than 230 yards since week 7. Ironically, also against the Browns.
And the only other time was when they lost to the Patriots in week 1.
Like, this is like Deshaun Watson 2020 levels of wasted quarterback greatness minus
Oh, don't tell me.
Which is
Second
really
place
funny
Massage
considering
parlors.
where Deshaun Watson is right now.
Oh.
I just the thing with the Bengals too is I know we chucked them into the deep fryer, but like, oh no, they got eliminated. Or no, they're not eliminated.
They're not out of it yet.
They're not out of it yet.
It's highly unlikely, but they're not out of it.
They
Denver
are
has
the
to
team
lose
though.
out.
They are the ultimate do not fucking let them into the tournament team, though, because if you do,
Oh God, yeah.
somebody like if they slip into the playoffs, like
They get
watch the fuck
Baltimore
out,
again, I
Bills.
think. I think it'd be them or Baltimore that they'd get.
Yeah. Well, because they
Or
would more than
or-
likely be making it as the 7 seed. And
Right.
the Bills are probably going to be the 2 seed. And I was like, if I'm the Bills, I do not want to draw the Bengals.
The last time they
seems like a
played in
bad
the
time.
playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, so they obviously
That
have their work
defense
cut
though
out.
is just like finally a good game from their defense. It took them like
Yeah.
all fucking year to get there, but they like it helped that they were playing a shit ass team, but a good defensive performance is a good defensive performance.
Mhm.
Yep. So I mean, 2010s Chargers esque. Probably not going to be watching this team in January, despite like how great they can move the ball up and down the field, and get after the quarterback.
And just from a purely football standpoint, what a letdown for the Browns this has continued to be all year.
Oh yeah.
Like opinions of the team aside, going from like making the playoffs with 12 wins and 5 different quarterbacks last year and having one of them be comeback player of the year to this, just
It's
like
a shame because they have some
it
good
really
pieces
is.
too. Like David Njoku has been one of the bright spots on that team, and I would say top 10 or top 5 tight end in the league right now. But nobody cares because he's on the Browns.
Yeah, Jerome Ford's been a great replacement for oh my god, I'm trying to blank on it. Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, yeah,
Jerry Judy's had his
Yep.
moments.
breakout
Mi-
year for him. He's over 1,000 yards.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, Grant Delpit, Denzel Ward
Devin
need no
Bush.
introduction. Yeah, like there's so much talent on this team.
3 and 12.
And,
yeah,
it just doesn't matter.
they wasted it going for a rapist,
Yep.
and now they're here.
I hope for their sake they draft a quarterback.
They
It's
should
like
sign
Jameis-
Daniel Jones.
Like
They-
Jameis is fun, but I hope he's the backup for them next year, and they draft a guy that can like actually lead them into the future, like what should have been Baker Mayfield still right now.
Well, there is one guy who's probably going to be on the market. And
Oh
they
my
were already
God.
they were already interested in him when he was trying to get out of his old town in 2021. I'm just saying, if Aaron Rodgers hits the free agency market, they're they're going for him.
No, they're gonna sign Kirk Cousins. You like that?
I cannot picture Kirk Cousins in a Browns uniform. It just feels
Oh, I
wrong.
absolutely can. I can see it.
Ugh.
I thought you were gonna say Sam Darnold at first before Aaron Rodgers, but
No,
Oh,
don't
I
do
think
that to
Kirk-
my Pookie Bear.
Kirk Cousins would be so funny.
Stay away from my Pookie Bear, Sam Darnold.
Actually, no. Aaron Rodgers needs to go to the Browns, and Kirk Cousins needs to go to the Jets.
Oh, God.
And
Well-
then Sam Darnold can go. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we're fine.
Tua can retire, and he can go to the Dolphins.
Speaking of your Pookie Bear, let's go to that game. A Christmas Carol, the novella by English novelist Charles Dickens, tells the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a greedy man who's haunted by the ghosts of Christmas past. Sunday afternoon saw Woody Johnson watch his floundering football team while the quarterbacks of Jets past haunted this team from New Jersey. It was an all-aerial attack as Geno Smith and Sam Darnold took to the skies, throwing a combined 6 touchdowns. With Seattle down 3 late, Geno Smith chucked up a prayer to DK Metcalf that was picked off by Minnesota's vicious defense, and the Vikings kept up their hopes for the NFC North title, while the Seahawks continue to fade in oblivion and out of the playoff picture. It is really funny that we have these two teams that have both just gotten excellent quarterback play by two guys widely considered busts who were both drafted highly by the Jets. And then they play each other in one of the most exciting games of the year, while
It's an awesome
the Jets'
game.
multi-million-dollar future Hall of Fame quarterback fucking flounders around and scores 9 points. It's just
Yeah,
poetry.
this was a
Beautiful.
very, very entertaining game.
Yeah. Should also mention these two teams also two of Rodgers' biggest rivals back when he was with Green Bay, and now they're flourishing with the Jets hand-me-downs.
Gotta love it.
Part of me is a little concerned about the Vikings because of all the one-score wins they have, much like the Chiefs.
But they win them.
Yeah, but these one-score wins that they get, it's not like, oh, they get the lead and they hang on. It's like so many times this year that Sam Darnold gets the ball back with a minute and a half left, and he's like, "Hey, I got this. Don't worry." So I definitely
won
feel
8 in a
very
row.
different about them.
Yeah, he eclipsed 30 passing touchdowns on the season in this game.
I'm trying. What was the closest he ever got to that in New York?
I think
Honest-
19.
I was gonna say. I feel like it's. I think it's 19.
I don't even know if he ever hit 20 before.
Sam Darnold up until
Yeah, his
this point
previous
in his
career high
career-
was 19 in 2019, and before that it was 17 in 2018.
Oh God, that was the first Adam Gase year.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was also his only other year where he won more than 4 games in a season. He went 7-6 with the Jets in 2019.
Good God. It's crazy that you had this guy the whole time, and you just couldn't get him to play football. Seems to be a running trend.
The Jets should bring back Adam Gase.
I agree.
That's what I take from this.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, they won 7 games of their first season of him.
Yeah,
It's better than what they're doing
extend
right
Adam
now.
Gase.
Yeah, so the Vikings, I think last week they clinched their playoff spot.
They did.
They're 13-2. It is really funny to think about the fact that they're either going to be the number 1 seed and have a first round bye, or spend the playoffs on the road, and nowhere in between.
Yeah,
And
so
there's a chance that week 18 between Vikings Lions decides who goes on that path.
Yep.
yeah, they could be 14-2 playing each other for the division title in week 18. Which is like, imagine winning 14 games and you open the playoffs on the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Meanwhile, the Falcons are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're hosting a playoff game at 8 and 9.
This division reminds me of the Jaguars and Titans in 1999.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
Like,
the 08 AFC South that had like the 14-2 Titans and then Peyton Manning at 13-3 on the road.
Oh God, I forgot the Titans were randomly good that one year.
Yeah. Huge game from Justin Jefferson also. 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just absolutely torching the Seahawks the whole game. Yeah, God, I feel like I might be misremembering this, but that last play of DK Metcalf just not necessarily giving up, but like running completely the wrong route really killed their hope. I mean, it was already a prayer for the Seahawks to try to win this, but that really did them in. And now all of a sudden, oh god.
I was gonna say he's been eclipsed at this point by Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I wonder if that's getting to him a little bit psychologically.
Yeah.
That he's not the
That
number
could
1
be.
guy anymore.
Yeah.
And I
can
think
see it.
I think JSN is just a better receiver than he is. Not to say DK Metcalf isn't good, but I think he does everything that DK can, but better.
Yeah, this is his 2nd year in the league, and he's already 5th in the league at over 1,000 receiving yards this year.
God damn.
Like, that is a slam dunk draft pick already.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, much like the Cardinals, they built a 8-5 record with 4 straight wins, and now
Now they've lost 2
on a-
again.
lost 2 in a row and sliding out of the playoff picture. Seems that nobody wants to win the NFC West, as it turns out.
Well, the Rams looks like finally decided they wanted to. It just took them until 3 weeks left to actually say, "Yeah, why don't we go do that?"
Yeah. You guys feel like going to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a leisurely stroll down to SoFi post January 8th or whatever the hell it is. Hold on.
So, Vikings now sitting at 13-2. Seahawks fall to 8-7. On to Western New York.
Buffalo was the scene of an AFC East clash between the division's juggernaut and the one that paved their path. The Pats tried early, but they did not try often, as their once big lead continued to soften. Them blowing it sucks, but long term it's what they need, while the Bills stay alive for the number 1 seed. As the Bills survived the Patriots 24-21 in a game where they trailed 14-0.
Yeah,
That first drive when Ramondre just ran into the end zone, or Tayshaun Boutte ran into the end zone, it was silent. I have never heard a stadium that quiet before.
Yeah,
in all my years.
That was a dime from Drake May too.
That too.
Gorgeous fucking throw.
That brought like flashbacks of seeing Tom Brady throw into whoever the fuck.
As that had Brady to Moss energy to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
the first quarter was very weird.
Yeah. Yet, so I said it on the show last week. I truly thought the Bills were going to win this game by a minimum of 30 points. So seeing the Patriots go up 14-0, I truly had no clue what to think at all.
Dude, I mean, even then, so they go up 14-7. You know, the Bills score a touchdown. They force a Patriots punt, and it was like, all right, here come the Bills. And then they throw an interception. And
That was awful.
I remember that happening, and I was just like, is this really happening right now? Like, they have a shot at the number 1 seed, and it's the Patriots. They're going to fucking knock them out of it. And then they came out of half, and it was very much like, all right, guys, let's
Totally
knock this
different
shit
team.
off.
Yeah. They were playing with their food a little too long.
Yeah. And then you have a devastating Ramondre Stevenson fumble.
That, oh my fucking
That
god.
was backbreaking.
Of
Yeah.
all the
Terrible.
fucking plays, of all the mistakes this team has made this year, that one might be like the top 3 most frustrating ones.
Yeah.
Because it was still a 1-score game when that happened, and it was just come the fuck. That in the pick by May on the drive before,
Yeah, that was...
where I think it was Austin Hooper like slipped and fell, or he tripped over the defender's leg while running his route, and it just left the Bills guy all by himself to catch the ball, and it was just like
Yeah.
you take those 2 drives away, the Patriots literally could have won this game.
Yeah. Well, so you have that, and then you have the second technically fumble, where they try the like backwards pass, and Ramondre gets blown up before the ball even gets there, and the Bills land on it for a touchdown as well. And it was like those 2 turnovers on not back-to-back, or yes, on back-to-back
That was
drives,
back-to-back drives. Yeah.
just backbreaking.
That was a brain dead play call, by the way. I don't know why the fuck Alex Van Pelt drew that up for that particular situation, but and that's the infuriating part, because he's done some really good things as OC too. The fake punt in this game was fucking awesome.
Yep.
I was really excited for that, and then to counteract that with that, just why?
Also,
For every good thing they do 3 things wrong.
Miscounted that. It was actually back-to-back drives that had turnovers, because there was an interception in between the 2 fumbles. I missed that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was a close game up until that, and they did score on their final drive of the game to make it closer, but weren't able to get a stop on the Bills to get the ball back.
They tried.
Yeah, it was one of the better performances we've seen by the Patriots, and then it all just came unglued, like at the end of the third quarter.
Well, the crazy thing too is, like, even with that, they still only lost by 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's still frustrating because they were those mistakes away from winning, but for a game that I thought was going to be a crime scene, the fact that it was only a 3-point loss is about as good of an outcome as you can get, because they keep their good draft position. I think they're number 2 in the draft order now, with Vegas winning, and they didn't look like a bunch of morons the entire game. So I'm cool with this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was going to say, I feel like this is like the 8th time we've talked about the Patriots where it was like, hey, they looked good on offense, and then they completely fucking blew it for 2 drives.
They're just too undisciplined in a lot of areas still.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they could have gotten that fixed by now, but like, I figured through 15 games they might have been able to get some of that worked out, but alas, I guess not. Good thing they have the Chargers and the Bills again to end the year.
Yeah, it gets really easy from here.
Yet, when they went 4-13 last year, and I was like, man, it really can't get worse than this, right? No, they might actually lose out and finish 3-14.
Oof.
Yeah, this is the first time ever that they have lost 12 or more games in consecutive years. So, not great.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of hard to believe.
But they didn't look like shit for 60 minutes this time. It was only for about 12. So there's that, I guess.
It's the small victories that count.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Raiders.
yeah. Speaking of which, let's go to
Yeah.
Las Vegas. It's on the wrong page. Whoops.
Thanks.
Allegiant Stadium, a multi-billion-dollar cathedral to football incompetence, was the site of a matchup that truly doesn't matter. The Jaguars, with dead man walking head coach Doug Peterson playing out the string without his starting quarterback until his inevitable firing at season's end, faced off against the Raiders, with dead man walking head coach Antonio Pierce playing out the string without his starting quarterback until his inevitable firing at season's end. In a year full of tight losses for each team, the Raiders finally stood up and made a statement. That's right, nobody hands the Raiders their 11th straight loss. It may have been ugly, but at least they moved up from the first pick to the 6th overall pick in the draft. Who cares?
Yet,
This game technically happened, I think.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce was in front of the press after this game, and he was like, "Yeah, we don't play for anybody's fantasy teams. We don't play for draft position. We don't play to lose. Yada yada yada." But like, man, for a team that unraveled as quickly as this one did, to win a game like this against a team you're battling for draft position with, and lose yourself 6 spots in the draft order is a fucking killer. Because I think they're number 7 now. I think of all the 3 and 12 teams, I think they're at the bottom of all of them.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, 6th overall pick right now.
'Cause they beat the Browns and they just beat the Jags.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're behind every one of them now.
Yep.
Good job.
Good luck with that, you guys. Yeah, ended their 10-game losing streak though, so we'll give them that. It is funny to think about that. This team was they were what, 2-2?
Yep.
And then
After beating the Ravens.
they remember they ended last year beating the guy. They dropped like 60 on the Chargers, and then they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, and then
And then this.
good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Genuinely, who cares? I don't think we need to talk anymore about this game. I really don't.
Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
care.
Well, okay, no, one quick thing. Brian Thomas continuing a breakout rookie year. Over 1,000 yards now on the season, despite catching balls from Mac Jones the last month. And Brock Bowers has a legit offensive rookie of the year case. It's a shame that he plays for the Raiders, though.
Yep.
Also 1,000 yards as a rookie, as a tight end.
Goddamn. All right. And that was
Yeah.
Jags Raiders. The epitome.
Who
of
cares?
Yeah, and another game, I mean, technically has playoff implications, but, I mean, the 49ers went into this game with the same attitude. So let's head to Miami.
Two teams met on Sunday that did not meet expectations, with one barely staying alive and the other packing for vacation. The Niners' second half freefall continues, while the Dolphins have a miracle playoff run still on the menu. The game stayed close, but Miami pulled away fast, and Brock's bunch has now sunk into last, as the Dolphins beat the 49ers 29-17 to officially eliminate them from the playoffs. And yeah, I don't think anybody had the Niners pegged as finishing last the year after losing the Super Bowl.
So it's funny you say that, because there is a stat that I heard that I genuinely couldn't believe. And then I looked into it and I was like, God damn, they're right. For the last 22 consecutive seasons, the 49ers have either made the NFC Championship game or missed the playoffs. No in between.
What the fuck? Seriously?
100% seriously. And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, because you have the infamous Trey Junkin bobbled snap game against the Giants, right? They win that game. They lose in the divisional round. That's 0-2. They don't make the playoffs again till Harbaugh shows up, which is 3 consecutive NFC Championship game appearances. Harbaugh goes 8-8. They fire him. It's mediocrity. Shanahan shows up. What do they do when they make the playoffs again? They go to the NFC title game in 2019. They win. They go to the Super Bowl. They sneak into the playoffs again in 2021, lose the NFC title game, and then lost it again in 22, and then lost the Super Bowl last year. The 49ers have not lost in the wild card or divisional round since like 2002.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is going to be the second straight time that the Niners make the Super Bowl and then finish last the next season. Provided that the Cardinals don't lose out.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, they went into this game. It was after, oh God, who was it? I think it was when the Commanders won earlier in the day.
Oh yeah, I think they were out from that. Not
is it the Commanders or Falcons winning that formally eliminated them from the playoffs,
and the Cowboys together.
Yeah, and so when this game started, it literally didn't matter for the 49ers. And I'm not saying they didn't try, but yeah,
They did for a bit, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
not
another
a terrible game from Purdy, but...
Yeah. There's another shocking stat, which is that the 49ers' fourth quarter point differential this year is minus 53, which is the worst in the league.
Wow.
That's a little concerning. And I guess one last point about the 49ers that's also interesting is I mentioned the Joe Burrow thing. Apparently Brock Purdy bought all of his offensive linemen brand new trucks, and it was like, Brock, they're all making way more money than you. You're making last overall pick money. Save that shit.
That's Rockstar, though.
What kind of trucks did he get him, though? Did he get him, like, fleet work trucks that he bought bulk from Enterprise or some shit?
It'd be funny. He's like, I bought 10 1996 Ford Rangers. Apparently he bought, I think it was 5 Toyota Tundras and 5, I think, Highlanders. So
brought to you by Toyota.
Yeah, I was going to say they probably hooked him up as a big part of it. So
Speaking of that, Jordan Love's Toyotathon run needs to be studied.
I hate that that's a fucking thing. Son of a bitch.
I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate the Lexus December to Remember sales event.
You know this is a Happy Honda Days family. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are technically alive in the playoffs, but I mean, really,
continuing that fantasy for another week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they got the Browns and the Jets to end the year. It's not impossible.
Oh God, they're gonna sneak into the playoffs, aren't they?
Well, depends on what the Broncos and the Chargers do, but it's a non-zero chance.
I mean, if you're the Dolphins, do you even want to go to the playoffs? Because your punishment is you have to go to Buffalo.
Again.
In January.
Yeah, to
I'd
continue
rather
that
not.
can't play in the cold narrative.
Yeah. It's like that South Park Little League episode where they just don't want to, but they just keep reluctantly losing. Or keep reluctantly winning, yeah. So I have literally nothing in my notes about the Dolphins. I don't know. Who cares?
This game allegedly happened.
Yeah, Devon A-Chain had a big game finally, so that's cool. That's about it.
And Kittle, but yeah, pretty much that's all that happened.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares indeed. On to Dallas for Sunday Night Football.
Who cares?
Tampa Bay entered AT&T Stadium with everything in front of them. Now holding a one-game lead in the NFC South, the path to the playoffs is simple. Beat 3 lowly teams, all with losing records, and get to January football. First up, the Dallas Cowboys, a team with a 1-6 record at home this year, with a backup quarterback and a massively underperforming defense. So naturally, Cooper Webb threw for just shy of 300 yards, and the Cowboys defense beat the hell out of the Bucs. Twice, the Dallas defense literally robbed Tampa players of the ball, stealing it right out of Rachaad White's hands with just a minute to go to seal a Cowboys win and send the Bucs home reeling. Even when they win, the Cowboys still find a way to disappoint me. This game
What a
sucked to
heart-
watch. This hurt.
What a heartbreaker for the Bucs, man.
Dude,
Because
Poor
they do
Rashad
not control
White.
their own destiny anymore.
oh my god. I literally said out loud before the final drive, hold on to the goddamn football. And literally the first play from fucking scrimmage, Baker with his legs wrapped up, like shovel passes it to Rashad White, and then he's like one-handed the ball, like flailing his fucking arms around, and I'm like literally yelling at the screen to fucking clutch it, and then he does, and he goes down, and then all of a sudden the Cowboys defender just comes up with the ball, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I think it was Ron Bland that did it.
Yeah, it was.
But like, it was just so disappointing because Baker did all of that to get out of it and to make that into a play that wasn't going to be a back-breaking sack, just for that to happen immediately after. It's like, man,
his reaction to it too was just priceless, because he gets up and then he just puts his hands up like, what? How?
like I did all of that for nothing.
Yeah, and again, that wasn't even, 2 drives before that. He throws a beautiful pass to Jalen McMillan, and
Oh
Lewis
my god!
just literally steals the ball out of his hands as they roll into the end zone. Like
The play
and-
right before that too was a dart right down the middle of the field.
yeah,
It was like,
this
holy shit, they're gonna fucking do it, and then they didn't.
Yeah, it was infuriating to watch. And that was kind of the plot for the whole game. Like the Cowboys defense, it wasn't just the takeaways. They were just hitting the hell out of the Bucs all night.
I think Baker went into the concussion thing like mid-game and then came back.
Yeah, he
too.
ended up he hurt his hand too at one point. Like he got beat up. There was that huge play where he threw like a beautiful throw to Mike Evans down the field, and then Evans just got fucking rocked and the ball launched out of his hands, and it was incomplete. And that was on like a 3rd and 8 that would have changed the game. Like this entire game, the Bucs were so close to making these game-changing plays, and then the Cowboys would just rock their shit. It was wild. But it's like what I was saying in the intro. Like, obviously, I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm also a big fan of Baker Mayfield, and at this point, I'm like, okay, the Cowboys are out of it. I just need the Bucs to win here. Like, the Cowboys have been letting me down all season. I just need them to lay down. And then they beat for the first time all year, they put up some fight on defense. And I was like, what the fuck? Where was this the rest of the year? So mad. So.
One of those years.
Yeah. And this was worst case scenario for the Buccaneers, because now they are tied with the Falcons and they no longer control their own destiny. So the Bucs' final 2 games are very interesting, because they essentially, I can't remember the exact scenario, but they have to win week 17 against the Panthers and have to beat the Saints, right? And so what they need is they need the Falcons to lose, I think, or they need either the Falcons or the Commies, I think, to lose one of these final 2 games or something like that.
They can win to win the division. The Falcons either have to lose one game and they win both, or the Falcons lose both and they win once.
Yeah, and I believe the Falcons and Commanders play this week. If I'm
They
not-
do.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah, that's gonna be
So-
a massive game.
Basically, the Bucs need to win out, and if the Falcons lose this week, they need them to lose both, or they need the Commanders to lose both. So that's
Same with
basically what
Seattle.
happens. Yeah.
But the Seahawks have a much harder division route than the Bucs do, so it's gonna be something.
Yeah. So they're gonna need some help now, which is crazy, because like this is a team that I feel like can play anybody really close. But they
It
can
also doesn't feel like Baker Mayfield's
anyway.
gone 15 picks at all.
No.
Like 3rd in the league with 34 touchdowns, and then 15 picks is, oh man.
Yeah. On the Cowboys side of the ball, like I mentioned, Cooper Rush had a pretty goddamn good game and had no help on the ground from Rico Dowdle this week.
Oh, you know what this means. we're starting that yearly cycle where Dak inevitably gets hurt and Cooper Rush has a string of a couple of good games where everyone's like, oh my god, Cooper might be the option now. And he's going to play like fucking dog water the next 2 weeks to remind everybody that he sucks and that he's not a franchise quarterback. It feels like this happens every year now.
Somebody's gonna pay way too much money for Cooper Rush. And it's gonna be really funny.
They're going to do what I thought people were going to do with Jake Browning at the end of last year.
God, yeah, I forgot about Jake Browning. He's an alumni from, or high school alumni from my hometown too, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, he's
How's
still
that going
backing
for
up
him?
Joe Burrow, but I thought someone was going to see that his couple of games and say, huh, maybe he's worth something, and then they just didn't.
Cat, come here.
But it's just so funny that Cooper Rush does this every single year where it gets that conversation going, and then he goes out and has a stinker right after where it's like, oh, yeah, no,
Yeah, because I remember 2 years ago when Dak got hurt early in the year, and he
won like 5 in a row or whatever it was.
Yeah, and then they faced the Eagles, and he got fucking rolled in his last start, and it was like, oh, okay. Now, Ziki, please don't get off the
Like,
desk.
oh, yeah.
Cat, please. He will start chewing on the thumb screws on my mic stand. He's a fucking gremlin, and I love him. Yeah, so pain. And this is also, I mean, this is worst case scenario for everybody because this is probably going to make the Cowboys think that Cooper Rush is their guy, and they're probably going to keep McCarthy too.
And it worsens their draft position.
Yep.
Because they were also eliminated like the Niners were.
Yeah, currently 15th overall pick.
Those sound like nothing but positives.
Man. I just want to watch winning football.
Well, that's
Speaking
too
of
damn
stinkers,
bad.
And then finally, we head to the frozen tundra, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Is this some kind of joke? Why the fuck is this the Monday game? For the first time all season, the Saints get blanked by the Packers with a final score of 34-0. 0. Nada. Spencer Rattler blows a wet fart under center for New Orleans. And not even Zebra legend Foster Moreau can find any sort of offense for them. Brandon McManus kicked 2 field goals. Theoretically, that's all the Packers needed. However, the Saints defense was gracious enough to let Dontavian Wicks, Josh Jacobs, Chris Brooks, and Emmanuel Wilson score as well. Merry fucking Christmas, Darren Rizzi. Eat Arby's.
So, not only was this the first shutout for the Saints all year, this was the first shutout in the entire league this year.
That is insane. I genuinely thought we were going to get all the way.
to get a shutout.
I thought we were going to get all the way through the year. Once again, I just want to point out the Saints scored 91 points in their first 2 games of the season, and then they are also the first team to get shut out. This team started out 2-0. They are now 5-10.
They've still scored more points than the Panthers. But they're also only a game ahead of the Panthers with 2 games left, so the Panthers finishing ahead of them is still possible.
Didn't you predict that?
I did, that the Panthers would finish third and the Saints would be last. It's still possible, man!
Oh,
Come on! We're almost there! Yeah, no, this was awful. Just awful.
I genuinely forgot about this game, and I turned it on midway through the third quarter, and I was just like, oh, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Spencer Rattler going into a fucking walk-in freezer to go over the plays because they were going to be in Lambeau just to get his ass handed to him anyway.
Well, you want to know
great, you made a guy freeze for an hour for nothing.
Well, you want to know the funniest part about that? So the freezer set to 10 degrees, and then when they actually played, it was 35, which is warm for Green Bay standards. They just showed up and they're like, "Oh, it's fine." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was one of the worst games of the season. New Orleans did fuck all on offense. Spencer Rattler looked completely lost.
Why did the Saints get not 1 but 2 Monday games this year? Why? The Titans got a Monday game this year. Why?
I just feel bad for Joe and Troy, man. They thought they were finally rid of all this shit that's gotten even worse.
They swapped with Al Michaels, right? Because the last 2 years Al Michaels has been getting all the shitty games, and then this year they were like,
that's
all right, put all the good
true.
games on Thursday so Al doesn't fucking quit.
But I like how the NFL was just trying to make it so the Patriots wouldn't get a single primetime game besides the mandated Thursday one, but they keep putting these fucking stinkers on every week. Like, I feel slighted.
Yeah.
Gave every other stinker-ass team a Monday or a Sunday night game, but you give the Pats, like, 15 1 p.m. kickoffs. Suck my ass!
Which, my hot take is I prefer 1 p.m. football over primetime football. But
I mean, at least they didn't get shit-whipped in primetime this year, but, like, you know, having one a year is nice, because I don't think Thursday should be counted as primetime.
that's fair. Thursday night football is an aberration.
It sucks.
It's not real.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Should also mention the Packers clinched a playoff spot. I don't remember if it was from this game or from a earlier loss. But yeah, this is the other juggernaut to not count out yet. Because
I wouldn't want to face this team in the playoffs either.
No.
Hell no.
And if you're the Lions, you especially don't want to slip up and let them get back into the division race, because who the fuck wants to go to Lambeau in January?
Oh, God.
I mean, the Lions did beat them in Lambeau once this year, but doing it when it's much colder and in the playoffs is a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, against Toyota-thon and Jordan Love.
Yeah.
It is crazy to think about, too, that we started this year in Brazil and Jordan Love had a, like, scary-looking knee injury, and then he was just, like, fine after 3 weeks, and now he's doing this shit. And also the fact that this is the third goddamn time in a row that they basically just found a fucking Hall of Famer.
You can't keep getting away with it!
I'm so pissed. Such bullshit.
What an ugly game. I don't want to think about it anymore.
Well, one thing about the Packers, too, is, like, yeah, they're 11-4, but their 4 losses are only to the Lions, Vikings, and Eagles. Like, they've beaten everybody else. They've just lost to the only teams that are better than them.
Yeah.
And 3 of those 4 losses were by 5 or fewer points, too. So they could very easily be 14-1 right now.
I mean, I remember going into the playoffs last year when the seeding played out and the Cowboys were playing them, and I was like, oh, they're going to lose. Like, they're just going to lose to the Packers because it's the
That was
Packers.
the easiest playoff game to predict, I think, ever.
Like, I thought they were going to lose. I didn't think they were going to lose that bad. And now they're better.
And the Cowboys are worse.
This is going to go down in history like that 0-2.
That's like 2 ships passing each other.
Yeah, like that 0-1 AFC divisional game between the Raiders and Patriots, where the Patriots went one way and the Raiders went the other.
Well, that one's funny because the Raiders made the Super Bowl after that and then fell off.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that was week 16. I cannot believe we're already this far into the season. That's fucking crazy.
Thank fuck we are, because my team is awful.
Woo-hoo! It happened so fast.
It's almost over.
Just a
Can
week
you believe
away.
it, guys?
The Super Bowl's in 4 weeks.
God, fuck. Yeah,
Oh.
2025 is in a fucking week.
Ugh. I don't want to think about that.
It's enough.
What I do want to think about is the dues.
Hell yeah.
Started off with devastating knee injury.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier. Tank Dell's knee quite literally exploded. So it was a dislocated kneecap, a torn ACL, a torn MCL, a torn LCL, and meniscus damage, all at once. So, like with the injury to DeMarvion Overshone a couple weeks ago, this one might keep him out for all of next year too. And for a guy that tore his ACL, got shot, and then blew his entire knee out within a 12-month period, can something good please happen to him? Genuinely?
Yeah, that's bad.
Because that is a really, really shitty year. And I don't blame CJ Stroud for crying at all. And for anyone that thinks he's a pussy for that, you're an even bigger pussy. And fuck you. Grown men cry. Fuck off.
Yeah.
The Bears also lost their offensive tackle Braxton Jones for the year. He fractured his ankle against the Lions, so the little bit of protection Caleb Williams still had is now gone. So good luck to him in the last 2 games. The Chargers put Marcus May on IR with an ankle injury. Christian Barmore had a recurring symptom of his blood clots back over the summer, so he's now out for the year. That really sucks, and I hope that that's not something that happens over and over again long term, and that he can like finally get that behind him now, because that's some scary shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say NASCAR fans know how that completely derailed Brian Vickers' career.
Yeah, and for a guy as good as Christian Barmore is, like, I hope it doesn't, But a couple other guys are done for the year. Bub Means suffered a setback while rehabbing his ankle, so he is done for the season. The Bills put Balin Spector on IR with a calf injury. The Jets put their rookie tackle Olu Fashanu on IR with a foot injury. The Cardinals lost 2 tackles, Jonah Williams and Paris Johnson, to the year with various injuries. The Steelers lost to Marvin Leal for the year with a neck injury. And Kyle Shanahan said that Trent Williams, who had been playing through an ankle injury, will not play the last 2 games now that they are eliminated. So a lot of offensive line injuries, especially, but a bunch of shitty ones across the board. Jalen Hurts, mentioned him earlier, also got a concussion, as did their backup running back, Will Shipley. Don't know if they're going to play against the Cowboys yet. Will be interesting to see, though, because that could have big implications for various things. And Nelson Aguilar and Justice Hill have both been ruled out already for tomorrow's game with concussions as well. But not great news there for the Ravens. Speaking of them, though, they finally cut the cord on Deontay Johnson. He's gone. But with the injury to Tank Dell, he has been claimed off waivers by the Texans. So he's a decent chance to play this weekend and still be on a playoff team. But what a tumultuous tenure that ended up being.
Jeez. Yeah, what a
Just
mess.
awful. The Titans, who are dealing with an injury to Nick Folk, signed Packers legend Braden Narvison, and he kicked for them this past weekend. The Chargers signed Eddie Jackson to their practice squad, and the Jets, who got tired of Andros Carlson missing chip shot field goals, have picked up Greg Joseph to kick for them this week, with Greg Zuerlein still out. Wendell Smallwood, mentioned him a couple weeks ago with his COVID fraud shit. He pleaded guilty to that, to federal fraud charges, so he will be sentenced in May of next year. He might be in jail for a very long time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And then we have not 1, not 2, but 3 WTF moments this week. First one comes from college, where the famous Idaho Potato Bowl between the Northern Illinois Huskies and the Fresno State Bulldogs, as throughout the entire game, on all of the graphics, they kept misspelling Bulldogs as Bulldongs over and over again. They also lost. Yeah.
Oh my god. How does that happen?
The best part about the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, too, is instead of a Gatorade shower, the winning coach gets a Gatorade bath, but it's French fries.
Oh my god.
So, pretty good year for Northern Illinois. They won a bowl game, and they beat Notre Dame.
Hell yeah.
Did you guys ever see back in the day when this was like 07, 08, I think, and Virginia's basketball team had uniforms where it was spelled Virginia?
I think I've seen that at some point.
It's really funny.
And then
I remember seeing it on like Sports Center, and I was like, "How does that happen? Like, what?"
Oh, I think that happened when Zach Greinke was on the Brewers. There was something with that too, where they misspelled his name, or either they misspelled his name or they misspelled the team's name on the jersey.
Oh my gosh.
And then the Myrtle Beach Bowl between Coastal Carolina and UTSA had 20 combined penalties, and 9 of them were unsportsmanlike conduct alone.
Dare I say, hose mad.
It should also be noted that the Myrtle Beach Bowl was played on Coastal Carolina's home stadium, and they got dog walked 44-15.
Man. Yeah, that's pretty.
And then, lastly, NFL Red Zone now has ads. What the fuck?
We live
It is
in
no longer
hell.
7 hours of commercial-free
live
football. It is
in
no longer
hell.
7 hours of commercial-free football.
Yep. Capitalism.
Unbelievable.
Something bulldozer, Granby, Colorado. Roger Goodell, something.
Yay.
Scott Hansen, I'm not mad at you. This is not your fault.
Yes. You did nothing.
You are stole my
Bear.
Pookie.
God.
And
Well,
on
I was gonna say nobody's ever accused the NFL Network of making good decisions. See
Yeah.
the Around the NFL fiasco from earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
where should mention the guys on Heed the Call, which basically called out Woody Johnson for being a dumbass, like pretty much explicitly said they got fired for criticizing them. And there was a thing that I was checking out earlier because I realized I think it was last year, they put this huge marketing push for this podcast with Nate Burleson. Oh god, I can't remember what it was called. Like genuinely, they must have pushed at least 2 hours of combined ads on all their podcasts. And do you know how many episodes they made of that show?
3.
1.
Wow.
They made 1 episode. So, good job, NFL media.
Wow.
And then, lastly, on this day in football history, Christmas Eve 1950, the Browns beat the Rams in the NFL championship game in what was the Browns' first year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Also
Think we-
notable because the Rams had moved away from Cleveland not even a decade prior.
I think we talked about the those early autogram Browns a few weeks ago. Yep.
We did.
Very important team in history.
Surely those Browns had a lot of success in the future, right?
Yeah, for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Oops.
Oosp. I don't think we need to do Dungeon Rings because I think all the teams that currently aren't in, I think we have.
I think we
sporked.
did the Niners last week, yeah.
Yeah, and we know the Dolphins and pretty sure the Colts are already on there. So
Did we get the Cardinals?
well, it doesn't matter; they're eliminated now. So
Well, let's
Well,
stick another
it's a
fork in 'em.
formality. We have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I think the Cardinals are still. I think they can still make it. I think they can
Couple
turn it
plane
around.
crashes, they're right back in it.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll just skip right forward to pick the thems, starting with Christmas Day tomorrow, actually, to date this podcast. Fun fact: the Kansas City Chiefs will play on every single day of the week except Tuesday this year, as they travel to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers.
Yeah, this week has games on 5 different days.
That is absurd.
Give
What
me
are we
the
doing?
Steelers, baby.
You
You know what I'm about.
Chiefs bullshit will continue until morale improves. They'll be 15-1 after this week.
I've got a quote in regards to Chiefs bullshit. Mike,
We do not care.
give me the Steelers. It's got to happen eventually. The other Christmas Day game, Ravens at Texans. I'm gonna lock Beyonce for this game.
Even though he just got claimed off of waivers by them, I hope Deontay Johnson suits up tomorrow and goes off 150 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the Deontay
middle of the
Johnson
revenge game.
revenge game.
No, I hope he drops it again. Give me the Ravens, baby.
I was actually considering picking the Texans for this until the Tank Dell injury happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that, already being down Stephon Diggs and now being down your next best receiver, Nico Collins can't do it all himself. Go Ravens.
Yeah, I will also be taking the Ravens. I don't know if you guys saw, but Lamar Jackson said he doesn't want to go into the locker room at halftime. He wants to watch Beyonce's halftime performance. So I think that's pretty funny. Dudes rock. Then I believe this is a Saturday game. Seahawks at Bears.
This is the Thursday game this week, I think.
Oh fuck, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Bears are going to lose their 10th in a row. I'm picking the Seahawks.
I'm not going to lock the Seahawks, but the Seahawks are winning the game.
Yeah, I agree. They are going to win. The Bears, what's the word? They stink. That's what it is.
Extreme suckage.
And then we kick off Saturday with the Chargers traveling to Foxborough to play the Patriots. I believe this is a win and in game for the Chargers.
Give me the Chargers. However, this is the exact kind of game that they lose.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if the Chargers lose this game, they're still the Chargers. If they win, things are different finally.
You are right. Also, the Chargers are in if they win or if the Colts and Dolphins both lose.
Okay.
And the
I'm
Chiefs
assuming-
clinch the number 1 seed if they win or the Bills lose.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're taking the Patriots.
You know it. I will be 3-13 picking them after this week, but that's okay.
Hell yeah.
The thought that counts.
Second Saturday game at 1:30 Eastern. It's Broncos at Bengals. I believe same scenario. Win.
Broncos are in if they win and the Bengals are out if they lose.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm picking the Bengals. They're going to fuck around and stay in it for another week. They're going to make it interesting.
You know what? I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going Bengals. I think they're going to do it.
Well, both of y'all took what I was going to do, so give me the Broncos.
I mean, we've already picked in unison twice. We can do it again.
Who
No,
cares?
I need to be different. Idiot. Therefore better.
I was going to say the Broncos are kind of your pet team this year. So.
A little bit. A little bit.
And then finally, on Saturday, Cardinals visit the Rams. Rams clinch the NFC West with a win, and Seahawks loss. So still an important game, but the Cardinals are now just purely a spoiler. I'm going to take the Rams. I think they're rolling.
Yeah, give me the Rams.
The Cardinals beat the ever-living fuck out of the Rams the first time they played. That is not happening again. They've got nothing to play for, and I think they'll keep it close, but I think the Rams are going to win it this time.
Yeah, and I think the Rams are just rolling at this point.
And the Cardinals are reeling.
Yep. And then we kick off. I'm glad we get the shitty games that don't matter out of the way early. We're at that point in the schedule. Giants, Colts. Technically, this game matters. The Colts are gonna win. Ugh. Don't care.
I am so tempted to lock the Colts, but I don't think they're lock worthy. Give me the Colts.
No. I'm gonna look like such a dumbass if the Colts make the playoffs at the end of this, with how I've been counting them out for 2 months.
Yeah, I'm picking the Colts, but honestly, I don't have 100% confidence in them winning this game. Like, Tommy DeVito's banged up, Drew Lock's beat up, but Anthony Richardson is one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks in the league right now, and the Giants' defense has had its moments. All it takes is 1 or 2 fuck-ups, and this could get kind of funny.
That is true, yeah.
That's true.
All right, then we go to Western New York. Jets at Bills.
Lock the Bills.
Yeah, there you go. Simple scenario for the Bills. Pray that the Chiefs lose and just keep trying to stack wins. I will also be taking the Bills.
Yeah, needless to say, Bills sweep here.
Yeah.
Please give the Jets their 12th loss of the year.
And so yeah, they obviously need the Chiefs to lose out, and they need to win out in order to get the number 1 seed. Then a game that truly doesn't matter: Titans at Jaguars in Jacksonville.
For the second time in 3 weeks. I'm picking a tie for this game again. I don't fucking give a single shit.
I'm going to take the Jags because this game is in Jacksonville and weird shit always happens in a game like this. This is going to be like one of them David Garrard, Hail Mary kind of games.
Actually, yeah, scratch it. I'm picking the Jags too. Mac Jones can go and beat the Titans again.
Damn it. I was going to pick the Titans just for... Give me the fucking Titans. I don't care. Who gives a shit? Really don't care.
I'm sure we'll spend a grand total of 6 seconds on that game next week.
Yeah, and a game that we're going to spend 7 seconds on is Raiders at Saints. Potentially a Derek Carr revenge game.
Give me the Raiders.
A row revenge game too.
Raiders have momentum. The Saints are circling the drain.
Yeah, it's Raiders are rolling. Oh wait, no, we did. If Derek Carr plays this game, if he loses to the Raiders, he becomes the first quarterback to lose to every franchise. Give me the Raiders.
That's true.
Oh my god. No, you know what? This is the game I'm picking a tie for.
Can see it.
What a buttload of ass.
Then we reach a game with actual playoff implications, and considering how well the Panthers are playing and how tough they play the Bucs, they travel to Tampa. Bucs lose the division. If they lose this game, then they would have to, I believe, win Week 18 and have some help from the commies losing out.
If the Bucs lose this weekend, they cannot get the wild card.
Oh, they're fully
They're
out if
2
they
games
lose.
behind Washington.
Okay.
So if they lose this week, the only chance they have is if the Falcons also lose.
Yeah, so they have to win out, and they either need the Falcons to lose this week, or the commies to lose, or the commies to lose Week 18. So, yeah, I was taking the Bucs.
I'm kind of tempted to pick the Panthers here because this is a very close game the first time they played, but
Yeah.
this time it's in Tampa, and with everything on the line, I think they're going to get their shit together and get it done.
Technically, Baker Mayfield revenge game.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to go with the Bucs here.
Yeah.
I was very tempted to go with the Panthers, but I think they're going to have their heads on straight for this one.
Yeah. Then a game that all of a sudden feels kind of heavy if you're the Eagles. It's the Cowboys coming to town. Dependent on if Jalen Hurts plays or not. Do we know if he's going to play? I'm assuming.
I haven't heard.
I think he's
I haven't heard any.
questionable.
Yeah. So otherwise, I hope you guys are ready for Cooper Rush versus Kenny Pickett.
Oh God.
Somehow
be
not
taking
the worst
Eagles.
quarterback matchup of the year.
You know what? I'm gonna have some pride in my team for once. Go Cowboys. I know they're gonna lose because I now picked them, but fuck it.
I'm still picking the Eagles, but I'm more uneasy about this than I was 4 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. In a game that technically has playoff implications, it's Dolphins at Browns.
I am locking the Dolphins.
I just realized I haven't thought about a lock yet.
Once again, any game that Dorian Thompson-Robinson starts, the Browns are not winning.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Yeah, give me the Dolphins.
Put Jameis back in. At least it was fun.
Uh-huh. Well, he's hurt, so.
Oh. Well,
I
put him
think
back in anyway.
DTR
It'll still
got
be
hurt
funny.
too. It's just which one's hurt more now.
You're gonna have to put Watson back out there.
Put him out there on fucking crutches behind a Swiss cheese line and see if he fucking rips the other one apart.
I'm just saying, the visual of a guy like on crutches trying to hold a football and then him getting fucking blasted by like a Dolphins pass rusher coming at Mach 12 and just both crutches going flying. It's really funny.
That's just Betty White in that one Snickers commercial.
Yeah, basically. Oh my god. Then we get a huge game. Packers at Vikings.
Oh boy.
Vikings.
Vikings were up big and almost blew it the first time, but that was in Lambeau. I think they're going to sweep them. I really do. They're both hot, but I think home field is going to be a little bit of an advantage this time.
I wish I had the thing set up that showed my record picking against you guys in tandem. So I could get some advanced analytics here. My gut is telling me Packers, but I'm gonna pick with my heart. Go Vikings.
Need a 14-win Sam Darnold season. Come on.
I believe in
Hell
Darnold.
yeah.
Sunday night football. The Falcons travel to Washington to play the Commanders.
Massive game.
Huge game. Commies win and in, or if the Bucs lose, Falcons clinch the division if they win and the Bucs lose. So both teams absolutely need to win this game. God,
Give me our team.
I'm gonna take the commies as well.
We'll
coupled
be
with my
picking commies in unison.
With my Cowboys pick earlier, I think they're coming to steal the division. Fuck, who am I gonna lock? I gotta think about this. And then finally, Monday night, Lions travel to the Bay Area to play the 49ers. Lions can clinch the NFC North and number 1 seed with a win and a Vikings loss. So pretty huge implications here for them to go and show out. And I'm going to stick with the Lions. I'm taking them again.
I'm gonna say Lions, and I'm gonna say this game looks pretty lockable to me.
I'm thinking about it, yeah.
It's a shame because going into this season, this was one of the games I was looking forward to the most on the entire year. And now it feels almost meaningless.
NFC title game rematch, yeah.
I will be picking the Lions as well in a sweep here. The Niners just have too many pieces missing, and now that they're eliminated, they got nothing to play for.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck
We're
it.
going to see some
Lock in the
pretty
Lions.
uninspired football.
Let's go. Lock the Lions. We're taking them. I believe that is. Is that my first Lions lock of the season? Oh, no, it's my second. Okay.
What did they do in the last one?
Oh wait, I think the sheet's not updating because it says I'm 2-0 locking the Lions. So it is my third actually. So. All right. That was Oofsides. How about that?
All right.
How about it?
Yeah. I cannot believe that the season's almost over. We only got 2
Man.
regular season weeks. I gotta edit this show so it goes up on Crimbus.
Big Crimbus.
Crimbo. I'm just hitting buttons on my soundboard.
Free Roger Carter.
Wait, the Arca team owner?
Yeah.
Or yeah, we
Yeah,
need
free Roger Carter.
we need guys like that back. We need more con men in racing.
That's real. Isn't he supposed to come back?
I've heard rumors.
Didn't he say he bought a car or something like that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. You got to bring back like Angeles Motorsports minus the like getting people killed part of that.
Oh,
That was cool.
Yeah.
what the-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other? I don't really know. How do we do outros? I can't remember. I'm tired.
Kind of happens.
Yeah. It just kind of, the show just kind of ends.
Just, hard exit out of the show.
Plug.
Goodbye.
Plug.
Yeah.
Plug.
Follow us on
Plug.
follow JT and stuff.
Plug.
You know what to do. And we'll see you next time.
Plug.
Goodbye.